Thank you, bro.
Chat amongst.
Mental. Oh, well, boys, thanks for being here. A couple of the OG Byron, metalcore, cone fiend, core lord, fucking hellman.
What a talk up.
Two of the best to ever do it from the zone. Unbelievable. And we're just reminiscing on a few of the shared connections we've got in this part of the world. Pig and Winston, welcome to Ain't That Swell.
Thanks,
Jed.
for having
Good to
us.
be here, mate.
Yeah, so I don't even know where to start with you guys. It's fucking so wild. So, like, when I think about you guys, I feel like you guys are the epitome of people who have used surfing to fuel, like, your creative ambition in a sense. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
No, you're right.
It-
Smack on.
it's like rock and roll, metal, whatever you want to call it, actually just a vehicle to help you guys get the best waves on Earth. Is that kind of the motivation?
For Pig, yeah.
It was definitely heading that way for a long time, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the start of it all, really. Like you get introduced to this kind of music through surfing and surf movies in the 90s. What was it? The bodyboarders were all
Yeah, it was
all
underground
in-
tapes for us, and it was like
It was all
momentum and
momentums
stuff.
and the
Yeah.
show and those things for us.
Yeah.
So you get into punk
Soundtracks.
and then hardcore, then
Yeah.
it goes to metal, and then you find the hardcore scene in Australia, which is just thriving, and then goes to metal, and I guess we're a metal band.
Yeah, and it
After
makes
it all.
sense that Winston's the singer because, like, I feel like back home in the eastern suburbs, like, the Boog scene was so synonymous with the hardcore scene.
Yeah.
Had a lot of mates, who were in hardcore bands. You had, like, kind of toe to toe, and like that. I feel like there was bodyboarders in that band, wasn't there?
I'm not sure about Toeies. Maybe there was. Throwdown there were
Throwdown
here's
was
the thing.
surfers, right?
I don't know if there was actually lads in bands that were writing leads or even surfers, but they were on the soundtracks. It was the
Right.
soundtracks, man. That's the thing. And a lot of I think the difference with like the momentums and like the surfing vids at that time was really California based, the soundtracks.
Yeah.
But
Heaps
the
of no
Australian,
effects and-
yeah. But the Australian films that were coming out there was a lot of Australian like hardcore and punk on that. Like there was Frenzels, Toe to Toe, Throwdown, like God, what else was there? A bunch
Body
of stuff
Jar
like
and all
that.
that shit,
Body
or was
Jar,
that-
Body
yeah.
Jar was all over it. So it was a lot of Aussie bands on those. So there was an instant link into the scene. So like there'd be vids out which would have snippets of like someone playing the Carrying Bar Bizzo or something like that, or like a show on the sunny coast, just like random shots of like live music. So it kind of just connected in that way. And we were just kind of generations and then the next generation of that kind of thing in terms of like it influenced us. And then from there, like it kind of went full circle and came back around again in terms of us influencing a whole bunch of other people in the same
amazing.
way.
Yeah.
And so you're fully a part of that world at this time. Like you're, pretty much an elite level bodyboarder. You're,
I'll take that. Cheers.
well, you got to
yeah.
start in the Shark Island comp, right?
Yeah. Like I
That's
don't.
the fucking
I've-
most
Oh,
prestigious.
he's had two Riptide.
Yeah, I got a couple
Is
of
it called
Riptide
Riptide?
covers.
Yeah, Riptide covers.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the
That's
day.
insane.
That's
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
That's fucking so wild.
I mean, I still surf and still want to be good at like riding, but I was never a good competitor. So like I'm a free surfer, and most of the time I surf by myself, and I don't chase it as hard as I used to. But I'll still like the thing for me is like I still want to push it. Like if
He's a charger.
Yeah, you'd have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you're of a vintage. Like when you go back to that period, that was when bodyboarding. That was the golden age of bodyboarding. Like
yeah.
it was
That's
basically like you guys were setting the standard for waves of consequence, pioneering like all of these waves that are now kind of in stick flicks and.
Yeah.
But back then, like those early tension films, superstars like No Friends, like that
Yeah.
was the golden age, man. And
Yeah,
you
it
were
was.
fully like in your prime at that point.
That was it. Like that was
Riptide was mad too.
Yeah, that was it. It was for me. That was the I was like, when that was happening, I was 16 to like 20 kind of thing. Like it was just on the cusp of like all combusting right when Parkway started, which is when I got the covers, which was wild. But so that was my like period of like coming up and just frothing, just fully frothing, and just that was when I was chasing it. I was on the Australian tour and trying to get sponsors and started going to Hawaii and stuff like that. And it's interesting you say like the pioneering thing, and that my dad it started with my dad, because he was literally first bodyboarder to ride Shark Island.
I heard this. Yeah.
So he
What was
got
your
me
dad's name?
Chaz.
Chaz.
Yeah. So he's like basically the pioneer of slab riding. like for real. He came over from England back in the day, moved to Cronulla and surfing the point and looked out at the island and was like, no one's surfing that. Wonder why on a homemade foamy, and started having a crack at those and just started riding different waves than everyone was doing. Because I think Sticks were riding it, but it was like South Days where it's like pushing past and you got the easy chip in, and he was like, oh, looks like Surge. You could get barreled on that kind of thing on his board with a handle and fins in the back. And he would like when he started getting me into like riding waves, it was always like he was just mad. Like mad in terms of like he'd just go waves that when I was a kid I was like, you get smashed on that, and he'd be like, yeah, but if you don't go it, you can't make it. So like you got to commit. That's the thing. And it's like that's what you had to do at the island. You had to commit. Otherwise, you're not gonna make a wave if you're too scared of even taking the wave. So I've kind of rolled with that my whole life.
And did you grow up down there in Cronulla to begin with?
I grew up there until I think moved up here in 88 or 89. So like I was 7 when we moved up, I think. So it wasn't actually riding anything. I was just getting pushed into waves. And then as soon as we moved up here, it was like click. And that's when I was like, I mean, the pass is so fun. And I rode a foamy, I rode like a mini mal, I rode a lid, just rode anything I could on those kind of waves. But then I had tallows on the other side, and I realized, oh my God, you can go left. And it was at some point in time, I was just like, I think as soon as I figured out how to do an air, I was like, bodyboarding's for me. That was the one. And Dad rode the way he did, and that was kind of it. So yeah,
it's an interesting part of the world up here for waves. Like obviously you don't have the consequence of the slabs and that, but you do have every conceivable shape getting thrown at you. Like, and it's just a miniature version, but there's just so many hollow days up here. There's so many punchy, wedgy, rampy days. Like, and as a result, like you look at the quality of surfers this place produces, bodyboarders and surfers, and it's like the best tube riders in the world come out of this joint pretty much. Like sum off, like between Solly and Torren in particular, like you got two of the
there's so much variety, man.
Like and consistency. I guess you can surf all the time.
Yeah, you underestimate it until you go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You can ride something all the time. Like it's weird at the moment coming home from this tour and it being like just flat. It's so weird to have just to have like that dead spring.
But the last couple of days is actually the best it's been in a while apparently.
Yeah.
And it's still shit.
But it's got that thing of where you got the Cape, so like howling sou'easters, there's something going to be in town, and everything else there's going to be something on the open side. And then you just take, you know those forecasts when you're just like, all right, it's going to be on somewhere. Take your pick: wedges, point breaks, beachies, like secret slabs, whatever you want. You just kind of like go, I'm going to go and sample that one today. It's not just like one thing that needs a specific swell and everyone's going to hit it. Like there's so many places which will just light up all at once, which is like a bit of a blessing, eh?
Yeah, it's fun and consistent, I reckon.
It is. That's the thing.
You miss out on the ground swells consistency with offshore winds, I reckon.
Yeah,
you're always getting stitched up by the wind or swell.
And we're missing out on.
But you do get good days.
We're missing out on like a couple of full consequential waves.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple of waves that if you know where they're at when they're on with the right conditions, like heavy as fuck.
Oh, for sure.
But
they're here.
But they're not consistent. Like that's the thing. That's that thing of like the mid tropical, like this area where you like there's so many almost reefs. We've always spent the whole
sand,
dude. It's the sand. It's so it's like reefs that get covered by sand, and then you go down like anywhere south of Sydney, and you're like, that's not an issue. It's just a drop off, and then it just holds whatever the swell's thrown at it. And here you're like, I hope the sand's right. You can go for 2 seasons with the reef being undercover and not throwing anything, and you just got to keep checking it for the sand.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Like the consistency is unbelievable up here, and it's always barreling. Like if it's fucking 2 foot and offshore, like you're getting a little cone somewhere.
I kind of trip on dudes moving here who are from places that have crazy waves, but it's this consistency.
It's the consistency.
And the warmth, I guess, and it's just easy.
Yeah,
raising families here, getting your kids surfing. It's probably all.
It's just the easiest place to live on earth. And you do have that little bit of culture and like you're not living in fucking, Culburra and like Ulladulla, and these places are mad. I love them, but like there's not heaps
Not
going
much
on.
going on,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's interesting. Like I think the blessing for us is we get to leave because when we were Groms growing up, Byron wasn't what it is now. Like this explosion's been like within the last like 5-10 years kind of thing. And it was just another tiny town that you wanted to get out of because it was like the waves are sick, but it got boring.
Well, there's no work up here as
There's
well.
nothing.
People forget that.
There was
all-
absolutely nothing.
All
That's
my
it.
mates from Byron I met in Sydney because they were chasing work
Exactly.
down
Everyone
there.
would leave high school early or whenever, and
Yeah.
they'd go to Sydney, Melbourne, and do that thing.
And all our older mates or parents or anything, there was a whole generation that you'd look to and you'd be like, they're on the dole so they can surf. They
Yeah.
moved here and they subscribed to living in a caravan or a shack as their quality of life because of the waves and the lifestyle, but they know they're not going anywhere else. That's it. But we, like, when you grow up as a kid, you just like, there's got to be something more than this little town. Like, man, we didn't even have a cinema. It was crazy. So you took it for granted what it actually had until you got to leave in terms of like, especially the natural environment. And I think personally, like touring the world and seeing every corner of it, especially like places that you wouldn't go, like as a surfer, you go to the coast, but we've gone so many places that don't have a coastline now. And you take it all in and you see what you really want to exist in. And then you realize, oh, I love this. I'd love to live here, but it doesn't have this aspect or it doesn't have this aspect. And then we'd come home and you'd be like, Jesus, it's kind of got everything here. It's got like, there's like 270 degrees of offshore days. You got mountains back there. You've got the exact perfect temperature. It's never quite too cold. It's never quite too hot. You get it enough swell for it to be. It's just this.
Pretty hard to beat. Everyone moved to Byron.
Everyone moves to Byron. If you haven't
pretty sure I
heard,
have, yeah.
it's weird. But that's when you kind of that's when you crack the code now of like, oh yeah, I get why people come here.
Exactly. And a lot of people have
And that's
cracked
why
the
people
code.
have cracked the code.
Mate, take us back to the early days though. Like you mentioned, back in the day, it was like, originally, I guess like a whaling and kind of cattle zone or dairy zone or something like that. And then that existed right up until the 2010s, I want to say. But what was your youth like here, Pig?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I was born in New Guinea and I moved here
How
when
did
I
that
was...
happen?
Oh, my old man.
Pretty naturally.
My old man went over and it was the biggest copper mine in the world at the time, Bougainville, little island in New Guinea. It's actually part of the Solomon Islands. He went over there for an opportunity when he was real young, like early 20s, and then just stayed. And he was there for like 10 years. I was born there, lived there till I was 8. We came here in 1990. I went to Lennox Primary, then went to Byron High, and that's kind of where I met. Like we were in year 7 together.
Yeah.
Alphabetical order names, K, M. So we were just in the same class.
Same classes for everything. Yeah.
He was a Bangalore boy. So him and his little crew of Bangalore fellas were hanging out. I kind of came from Lennox with no other mates, but sort of fit in pretty quick. And once you get to high school, it's all pretty surf orientated around here. Like it probably still is.
Dude, remember the uniform used to literally have surfers on it. It was sponsored by the Sky Surf Shop.
No way.
Like the uniform was a white T-shirt with someone doing a snap and a Sky logo, and that was the shirt.
That is the worst incentive to stay in school.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's even on your uniform.
So you stop playing soccer and cricket and footy and you just surf.
Yeah. And the other thing is like where Byron High is located, like there's literally a track to the beach, and surfing was like a sport. And then the second story of the school, you couldn't see the ocean, but you could see the last line of trees, like where it dropped off down to Shitty's Creek. So you'd have those days where like everyone it was all surfing. It was literally all surfing. There was nothing else in the town. Everyone would wake up in the morning, ride your pushies to the beach, surf until the last possible second, then go to school. All the teachers knew, like, if you rocked up late, it was because of the waves. They hated it. Like, it was the hardest thing was keeping kids in. And you'd get to lunch, and, like, if you had one of those days where it swung westerly, you'd just see everyone kind of look out the window and go, oh, and people would, like, not turn up for the last 3 classes of the day. And everyone would just be racing to the beach kind of thing. And it was just that it's been the center of been the center of the town. But
I wonder if it's still the same now.
it's still the same. It probably is down. Yeah.
It's the most idyllic upbringing and so perfect because school is absolute horseshit. They're just
Yeah.
pumping your brain with
Yeah.
fucking nonsense for 7 years. So it's no wonder Byron produces so many heavy hitting fucking surfers and creative types because you haven't been wasting your time getting your head fucking brainwashed by gibberish.
And you got, well, at the same time, we got Wilsey killing it, who like the school held up as like, hey, do good, you could be like him.
Be like Wilsey.
You could be like Wilsey, and he's rocking up going, go well, kids. And he's going for a world title at that point in time, and he's on the tour and everything.
Like he was coming into school giving
he's coming into school. It's like Wilsey's giving a talk at the assembly, and he'd be like, sick. So,
wow.
yeah, it was pretty
kidding?
wild. It was a pretty dreamy, like, it's nuts. Like you look back on it with rose tinted glasses, but it was pretty wild. Like I still look back at like heaps of VHS footage because we got mates who shot everything back in the day on dodgy cameras and stuff. And some of the waves, like we're at an age now where you can see the sand cycles and like how long it takes, because like we grew up in an era where you had parents going, back in my day, you could catch a wave from Watergoes to Main Beach, and you'd be like, bullshit. Bullshit. And then you'd see a photo and you're like, that looks a bit different from what I imagine. And now the sand's shifted so much that like we look back at footage that we filmed and we're like, oh my God, maybe that wasn't normal. That like high school period that we dreamed in our mind was idyllic surf in the town was actually really dreamy sand, and it wasn't always like that. And you look back at all this footage and you're like, man, we had such a prime period of being Groms where the waves were really pumping so much.
And no one around.
No one around. Like, there's wild, like some of the footage of like, I mean, you could rock up at the pass on a day when the wind changed. Like I remember days even in, God, when would it have been? 2003 or 2004 of the pass being like 5 foot, slabbing off the point, and me going, oh, it's going to be pumping in the morning, and rocking up and it being like me and Yaron, and that's it, like 2 guys out and just like 10-second freight trains off the pit and off the point, and it being a thing where like if you got up early enough, you'd get the pass with no one out for like 2 hours kind of thing. Man. And now you can't even get a park there. It's just bizarre. Like,
let alone like Dolly's, it wasn't even a surf spot.
Dolly's wasn't
7
a
mile
spot, yeah.
You wouldn't even surf 7 mile.
Tallows, anything over 4 foot. Like the wedge in that corner used to be psychotic, and like no one would surf it. Like literally, you'd rescue tourists getting sucked around the corner, and that's it. But other days it'd just be like crazy A-frames, and people going, nah, it's too heavy, I'm not surfing that, going to the pass, and there'd be like 7 lids out, and that's it. And the whole beach is just A-framing, and no one wanted a bar of it, and no one was around. It was bizarre, dude.
Wow.
It's so strange. Yeah.
That's crazy. That was the golden age before camera phones and social media.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
Surf cams. That shit just fucking destroyed surfing, didn't it? I mean,
Kind of destroyed everything, didn't it?
yeah, fuck, destroyed a lot of people's privacy. Yeah. Fuck, man. And like, so you're growing up under the influence of Wilsey, I guess. Like he was the big name in the world and in your local town. I was fortunate enough to move up here. I think I was around 23 when he just quit the tour, and his surfing was mind blowing up close. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think when we went to year 7, I think Wilsey was like the model for the uniforms. Like he'd come out and he'd show he'd be wearing the school uniform. So that was like, you're almost starstruck by that. But he was just next level. He was like, should have been world champ kind of thing. And then there was a lot of other shredders like of that generation, like the Yezzes and the Corn Dogs, and just the older generation from us. Wardo.
Craig Wharton was a wizard, man.
Dude, he just started boosting. Out of like all of a sudden, Wardo's just doing the wildest airs you've ever seen on waves that shouldn't have airs. Like it's before, like it was right when the air comp, remember that tour took off and Kersey won it and stuff. I think Wardo got like second on it and he won one or something. All of a sudden the air game just jumped into surfing, and he was like at the forefront of that at the time. We were just like, how is he going so high?
Mate, he's such a like footnote in aerial history, like, but he doesn't get the acknowledgement. He was psycho back in the day.
Yeah, he was psycho.
He barely surfs anymore.
Yeah,
but when he does, he shreds.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It was so weird. He'd just take off and you're like, here he goes. Here he goes. Yep. And he's up. That's massive.
Yeah.
Do like a big full rotor reverse or something. Before that was like even a thing. I remember back in the day, like God, I sound old saying back in the day, but before, like when air reversers and stuff weren't just out of the pocket. It wasn't just like you just whip them out anywhere. Like someone would have to be popping something big. I think because boards were bigger.
Yeah.
Like I look back
long
at the
and
footage
pointy.
and I was like, long and pointy board, but
Yeah.
someone's just hucking on them. Yeah. But yeah, Willsy's surfing was fast. That was the crazy thing.
Didn't waste a drop. Fast on
Dude,
rail. Everything
so
linked.
fast.
So
like
crazy.
like
At the
twice as
pass.
fast. Yeah.
Fuck.
Just like hammering and just turn after turn, no speed burnt, and you'd be like, that's like so many levels. I can just remember like got these vivid images of him flying down the line, and you can see like this tiny little bit of rail in the face and like a quarter of a fin at the back, and that's kind of it, just going just straight past you, like no friction. And yeah,
Man, it was unbelievable to see a guy put waves like that together. Like,
yeah.
Especially being from Sydney, where you don't have stretched out point breaks, coming up here and watching a guy like you've never seen someone surf a point break wave with more speed and more radical
And
than
how
that.
smooth too.
Yeah.
So smooth.
yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I kind of fell away from surfing in my teens when we started getting
Remember
into
that?
when we started getting into punk, and like I just wanted to be in bands at that point. So did you go through that too, or you just stayed?
No, I was
bodyboard,
fully,
froth?
dude. I was fully in.
Yeah, yeah,
And I remember like
Like,
that period. The weird thing for me
I'd
is
just
that
go smoke cones in my mate's caravan, and we'd go to the past sometimes, kind of thing. So
even when like the
music took
first
over.
few years of us being in the band, you'd go for like a 45-minute surf.
Yeah.
I remember we'd go for surf like down at White's or something, and you'd go out for 45 minutes and it was good, and then you'd go in. I'm like, why is he going in? And you'd be like, I'm done.
I lost the froth, but then I got it back.
And then you got it back
when
more than any
barrels
other
came.
person on the planet.
Yeah. When I realised how good barrels were, I was like, fuck, I've been wasting all my youth. I got to get barreled.
Yeah, that's a heavy one, hey, when you have that kind of regret and you're like, oh, what did I do there? That was a little chapter. I kind of took my foot off the gas pedal there. Fuck, stalled my development and missed out on a bunch of crazy sessions, and then you go twice as hard.
Yeah, he's gone 5 times as hard now.
Yeah.
So where did the music journey begin so it begins for you like in your teens?
Yeah, it was, like we said, it was surf movies. And then from there, like I had a mate that played guitar, and he could play all the songs that were on, like he was getting lessons, and he was just learning these songs that we loved. So then I wanted to do the same thing. So I just learnt to play some power chords and some riffs of like Pennywise songs and Rage Against the Machine and shit like that. And then from there, we're like, let's just start a band. So he started drumming. And from then on, we've kind of just always been in different bands. And then we might have influenced other dudes that were into the same kind of music. And then they started bands. And then there was just this scene that was developing. And then Parkway came from that a bit later.
Yeah, that fucking that punk and hardcore scene in the early 2000s, like, where did that come from? It seemed kind of random, but it was so big.
I don't know, like
It's a combination. Like it's
surf
what
had a lot to do with it.
It
up
did.
here.
It's like the surf culture. I mean, the biggest culture in Australia at that point in time was the surf culture.
Particularly in surf towns too, like where you're kind of in rural and regional areas, and you're not got a whole lot of cultural influence. That's it. Eh?
That's it.
Surf
It's like,
videos.
and I think people kind of underestimate it because, like, I mean, when you think about the era of like the golden era of surfing's kind of peak in terms of like, I'm going to say it being really cool, like before it like became something where you're like, oh, that guy's wearing a brand, but you know he's never been in the ocean before. It's just like everyday wear kind of thing. It's gone out to full gen pop beyond people who actually ride waves. It was that like early 2000s was like the full on boom. It was the full boom, like right before things went into the market and were sold like stocks and stuff like that. It was actually like being involved in that was a cool thing. And you'd have people watching surf movies and stuff like that were groms that appreciated it for even the soundtrack and the culture, even though they didn't actually surf, they still wanted to be kind of involved in it. And it was all just linked in together. And that was, I think that was the drip feed of the music itself. Like that's the thing. That's where it kind of, the surf culture kind of infiltrated, I guess, the teen culture.
It's pretty interesting because that was where we got it from. So then like bands would then tour Australia. They'd play Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Byron. Like Byron was a stop on the circuit for all these
That's
bands.
right.
And it was always the best show because kids just went fucking nuts. It
You're
got really...
talking actually our scene.
So then our scene, this is like, once we're in our 20s now and we're putting shows on in this town, then hardcore becomes this thing in Byron. And like, it's no longer surf related. It's like there's hardcore kids, they're almost like the new homies.
Yeah.
And then the surfers like it was this whole divide that had gone away from surfing into just the hardcore scene, which I guess we're a part of because we were putting the shows on.
But it
was real. It was just interesting that Byron had that scene that was like, you talk to those bands, any of those bands that toured, their favourite show would have been Byron for sure.
It was psycho. Like Byron's scene when we first started it, like it was when it fully blew up. You're talking about shows run by kids, and I'm talking straight up kids. Like when we got like little Nick like taking stamps on the door at that point in time, he's like 12. And he's like, give me your $5 and stamping someone's hand. And then once everyone's in, it's like, sweet, everyone's in, close the door. Now we're just going to go absolutely mental. And like the youth center was just like, it was about 3 times the size of the room we're in here, and about like there's no carpet on the floor, but that's about it. There's no aircon, sweaty floors that got slippery, no stage. Like it got to a point where we built a stage ourselves. We had a working bee, me and Piggin, and like someone's dad, I think, came down and built some boxes so we could have a stage. But it was like a rented PA from a dude called Stu out in like Nimbin who'd come in for like $300, and that's just what we had to cover for the show to go on.
Yeah, Stu from Nimbin, if
Stu
you're
from
listening.
Nimbin, still doing it from what I hear. What a
Fucking
legend.
oath.
Yeah, so he was great, and he'd come down and just load the PA in, and we'd put a show on, like, and we'd literally put the show on, and
the bands would stay at Winston's house. Winston's parents would just have them.
or band out drummers, and it was like, it was literally the epitome of DIY. So you've got these international touring bands coming to Australia from the other side of the world, from these established markets where they're like, this thing, like this sound is blowing up overseas. There's labels, there's actual shows in venues and stuff like that. They come and they play Brizzy in like a nightclub, Sydney in like a pub, and then they get to Byron and they're in this surf town, and like, here's the shed, here's our 12-year-old mate who's running the door. Like, be ready, and then they'd start, and like, there's no security, there's no rules. It was just like, we made the culture of like, don't be a dickhead, that's kind of it. So you've got kids just going ham, like climbing walls, jumping off speaker stacks, like just one-upping themselves in like the insanity of what's going on at the show. And bands were just like, oh, fucking hell, what is this? Like, it was just a very unique thing to happen in the town, and it kind of rolled on for like, how many years were Byron? I don't know.
We did it until Parkway kind of
went overseas.
Started going overseas, and we couldn't do shows
because we
anymore.
couldn't do it. We had to pass it on.
Yeah, and then it kind of might have petered out a little bit.
It would have been
There's still shows going on now.
5 to 10 years of like chaos, like 6 shows. Like that was so fun and so good. And then it kind of, and then we were overseas and Parkway's rolling, and like we kind of lost touch with it in that way because you just,
Fuck, that's an amazing story, man. Yeah, those youth centre gigs, like the boys still talk about them to this day, like Parksy and like Finney and some of my mates. And it's like you said, the epitome of DIY, man, like local guys putting on an event for the community. And, you know, like the hardcore scene, it gets a bad rap, but a lot of the time, like, you know, there's a lot of straight edge people in the mix.
Oh, that's what it was, dude. The thing at the start, like, especially at the start, the thing that attracted people was like, we grew up in a town where there was nothing for kids, like nothing for teenagers. Like when I said earlier, like it was boring and you wanted to get out, it's because you had nothing to do. Like we grew up getting pissed in the top park.
Yeah.
At 16.
It's drinking in the top park.
Punching a bong in a mate's caravan because that's all you had other than going for a surf.
Jed's like, what? That's not that.
Yeah.
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah. So the thing...
Consuming sacrament in older guys' caravan.
So the thing with it was like when music became a thing and there was something to do at night and you got to own it and it wasn't dictated by the adults, it was obviously run by mates. Like we were probably the upper echelon of like older people involved in this thing. Like it really gave kids in this town something to do and something to be a part of and a culture. Because other than that, it was like the top pub and the Northern. And those, you couldn't be part of that at that point in time. And the town used to be sketch as. You'd go into town and nighttime after, like, everyone was hammered, it would open up and people just brawl in the streets. And it's just kind of shitty. Like, Byron was like, I mean, back in the day, Byron was scummy, dude. It was like fully scummy. It was like dodge as hell.
Yeah, it was just because there was no work here. It was either fucking dole
Yeah.
or growing dope or like fucking and a heap of smack. Like, I don't know, for some reason, surfing in the 90s and like heroin was like still kind of tight.
There was a lot of dodgy stuff in this town back in the day, and it was something that, like, the kids were the last thing that got worried about in terms of this kind of stuff. So we made something, not realizing that we were creating something that everyone would want in terms of, like, yes, that's what it is. And because they were all ages shows and it wasn't in a pub, kids were psyched on being straight edge. Like, we were like, you can't rock up to these gigs pissed, because then the cops are going to rock up and the whole thing's going to get shut down. And we had the cops there every show, because the neighbours would ring up immediately and just go, "What's that racket? What's that racket?" And the cops would come, but they'd be like, "All right, what's going on?" The first time they were like, "You can't do this." And we're like, "Well, it's fine." And they were like, "We're like, all the kids are sober." And they're like, "Bullshit." We're like, "Nah, they're just here for the music." And after like the third call out and they realised what was going on, and they're like, "Hey, what have you got right now? You've got 300 to 400 kids at a gig, not pissed, having a good time, and they're going to go home after this instead of rolling around the street trying to get drunk and causing trouble." They were like, "Oh, this is actually sick. Cool." And they'd rock up and they'd be like, "Neighbours are complaining. We know you're going to be done by 10. We just got to rock up. Doesn't matter. Good on yous." We're like, "Cool. All right." That's kind of...
Yeah, and the youth centre were good. They just let us do our thing. Like, they obviously had their programs and shit like that going on, and they would just let us handle the shows. Sweet.
Oh man, you get mad karma for doing that. You really do. And
apparently we have.
Well, exactly. 100%. Yeah. Like, and also, not only do you get this like a man's sense of goodwill, you're also like refining your trade at this time. Like, you're seeing so much musical influence come through, and like there's so much energy and goodwill behind you guys from touring bands or whatever. And then you guys, I don't know the story exactly. The only story I know is the kind of folklore version that people have fed to me. But what ends up happening? So you guys, you're in a bit. So while you're doing these youth centre shows, like, Parkway is existing and you guys are playing gigs in parallel with...
Not at first.
Not at first. We were doing shows before Parkway.
Yeah.
And like, I had a band.
There were shows before the youth centre. Like, there was hall shows. Broken Head Hall.
We used to play Broken Head Hall, Ewingsdale Hall, Scout Hall in town.
Yeah.
Like, we were looking for these halls to play at like mates' 17th birthdays and 16ths and shit like that. So that was where it all started.
You played one or two and then the hall wouldn't let you play there again, basically. Yeah.
Then we found the youth centre, and then this whole scene developed. Yeah. There was only one or two bands early. Then Winston started another band. Then some other younger kids started some bands. And then there was a couple of bands going together. And then at some point, Ben, our drummer, was in a band with Winston.
Yeah.
And there was just a couple of dudes in the band that weren't showing up and stuff. And they were like, let's start something new. And metalcore, the metal side of it was kind of getting bigger. So we're like, let's find someone that can play a bit of metal guitar, which was Jeff, and Pig, because he's been around and been in a few bands already, or one band.
Yeah.
So that's how Parkway sort of started while these shows were happening and everything. So then Parkway started playing some of these shows, and that was kind of how we were born. And Winston and I, we kind of ran those shows in the early days. So I guess that's kind of where our, I guess, partnership developed, and it's still going today in Parkway. I just had that realization.
Yeah, wild, hey.
Recently. Like, what we were doing for the shows is similar to what we're doing in Parkway anyway. So that kind of established then as well.
Yeah, because you've just scaled it up. Like, you're putting on festivals and stuff like that. That's trippy to think. You're doing the same thing, but just on a mega scale.
Shows on at the Yak.
And and bringing like the same energy and community and that's fucking rad, dude. That is the karma right there. And because you always had your heart in the right place, you were doing it to begin with. You refined your trade, just doing it for fucking shits and giggles and good times. And you do,
and to get on the road.
Love.
The dream was to get out on the road like these other bands that are coming through town and be able to play in the other cities. And it's an adventure. It's like a surf trip. And we've all been on surf trips, and like that's fun. You're with your mates in a van on the road, breaking down, fucking just dealing with life. But you get to play music to all these other people in other cities.
It was like it was interesting because like it opened our eyes to going to places that you wouldn't go to, like a different type of a surf trip, but the same kind of payoff in terms of seeing a gig. If that makes sense. Like we started going to Brizzy to go and see, like wouldn't have gone to Brisbane if it wasn't to see a band. There's no waves there. Yeah. First time we went to Melbourne, like it's like Melbourne and Adelaide, like never would have gone there if it wasn't for going to see bands or being in the band. And once that kind of expanded our horizons of the idea of just traveling in general, it kind of just fueled the same bug that like surfing and surf trips had in the first place.
And then where you guys enter folklore is where you're fucking like at a certain point you come together as a band and you're like, oh, we're going to have a crack. Like we're going to go overseas and we're going to rip in. And so like talk us through the ripping in. Because when people ask me like when they're in bands and they're kind of, I don't know why they'd ask me for advice. But when we have these conversations, I always point to you guys. I'm like, see what Parkway did? Like that's how you do it.
Yeah.
You go on tour and you just be undeniable and you leave no stone unturned in trying to crack it. And you got to have that work ethic. But I'd like to hear it from you guys exactly how that first chapter transpired and when you realized as well that like, wow, people are into what we're doing.
There's definitely like everything you said's super correct. And then there's like another level of it as well, which is like Parkway wasn't our first band. Like there's a lot to be said for the fact that like we'd done things. A lot of people like, I think a lot of people expect like I do my first band and that's going to be the one. I'm like the work before, like there was layers of work before Parkway existed, and then Parkway, like Pig's first band, Think Straight, like they let me sing some songs with them, me doing other stuff with Ben and Blueprint for a Nightmare, and then this being like the next thing, and it being they're like stepping stones, and this being the one where you're like, okay, this is actually what we want to do, and now we're going to go all in on it. And it was the thing where it was like, it was all in. It was all in the sense of, I think with the first opportunity we got presented was the folklore is true in the sense of if anyone knows the story, we'd been a band for like a couple of months. We'd written literally 5 songs. We're having a jam. A guy called Michael Crafter who sings for I Called the Prom Queen rocks up in town, dating a local girl, comes to our jam, hangs out, hears us, is like, oh my God, this band's amazing. Comes to our first ever show. And from there goes, I want to put out a record with you guys and you guys come on tour with the tour. That point right there where you have the opportunity to go into a studio and record for the first time, go on tour for this first time and play places that you would never think, I'm going to drive 10 hours to play a gig. You make the choice of like, am I going to spend the money and go into a studio? Am I good enough to do that? Am I going to try and get time off work to go and play these gigs? And you make the choice, basically. And we made the choice to do that. And from that point, it never stopped. Like it was like, that was the first domino that you had to go, you're going to flick it? You're going to flick the domino and see how it rolls? And we were like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's just see what happens. Because where we're at in Byron is like pigs watering wheatgrass. I'm burning coffees down.
That is
at
the
Max.
most 90s Byron gig
Dude,
ever.
100%. Yeah. Jeff's at Video Easy. Ben's like somehow 14 years old and the head chef at a pizza restaurant, and like Jai's not even in the band. Steegy, our bass player, we're bailing out from the watch house every night to go to play a gig. It was like, what else we got? This sounds like an adventure. Let's go on the adventure and see where it rolls. And from that point, it just kept rolling. It was like, cool, you've played one gig. When's the next gig coming up? Awesome. You've gone into a studio. You've recorded some songs. Holy crap, how do you get those songs out? Where's the next thing? And the next thing all of a sudden starts presenting itself over and over and over, and you just take the chances as it goes. And we just never said no to an opportunity. I can't remember early on, we chased gigs. but we never said no to like, hey, you want to play this? We're like, no.
And Australia, by the time we went overseas, Australia got to a point where it was pretty good. Like we were playing to 1,000 people, I think, in each city.
1,200 in Sydney at the Forum was our farewell show.
We had a farewell show before we went overseas. Like that's how much of a big deal going overseas we thought was, because people just didn't do it. So we just one-way ticket, flew to, was it Europe?
Yeah, it was Europe first.
Flew to Europe, had a couple of random shows lined up there, and just got over there, and it just snowballed into a 5-month trip. Went back and forth to the States, back to Europe for another tour, and
we knew it was going to be that
word
long.
of mouth kind of thing while we're over there, and then we kind of established ourselves in that 5 months.
Yeah,
and then have literally been back probably every year since. Yeah.
It was the same thing. Don't say it was weird. Like that's fast forwarding through a fair bit of like the Australian history in terms of like how it escalated, but the basis of it was. Oh, I'll throw back even further to cover that part. The interesting thing that happened with Australia was, by the time we went overseas, we're actually we'd released a full-length record. We'd gone overseas and recorded for the first time with like a world-class producer and all this stuff, which was crazy. But the key thing for us was we took so many opportunities, we toured so much that we'd gone up and down the major cities to the point where we're like, if we keep playing them, people have seen us so much they're going to get bored. And you're like, yeah, we saw Parkway last month. And we're like, but where else do you play? Because by this point in time, it's become like our job, if that makes sense. We're like, if we want to keep this rolling, we're to keep doing things. So we did a tour called the All Ages Assault Tour, which was literally based on the idea of the youth centre shows. We're like, let's go play all of these places that bands in general don't go, like no major markets. Like we're going to Bendigo, Ballarat, Wodonga, like
Sunny Coast,
Gympie or something like
Wollongong.
that. Like all of these places which were like, they're not nightclubs, they're halls. We're rocking up. We took our own PA, like we hired a guy with a PA in a truck and the band and the support bands, and we just drove to these places where there's generally just no gigs for kids, which was the same thing as Byron.
Mate, you're like hardcore missionaries.
Yeah, that's literally what it was. And that's the thing. We're putting these shows on to kids who were in the same situation that we grew up in, where they're like, no one's provided for you. You got the pub down the road. That's all you got. And they're like, what do you mean it's music? Holy crap. And they'd rock up and be like, there's no security guards. There's no nothing. It's just us running the show. Don't be dickheads, but you can go skits. And then Parkway rocks up and just plays as hard and as crazy as we can, and kids get to lose it now, and they just all fell in love in the same way. It was the same impact that it had when we started in our town, and it just like was mass saturation of what this band was within Australia. All of a sudden, like every high school in the country knew what Parkway was, knew what this music was, and that was probably their first in, because they didn't have surfing movies to get in. It was like their first experience was Parkway rocking up to the like PCYC or an artist PCA hall or whatever it was, and doing this wild gig, and them just getting their heads blown off and going, I've got to get more of this. I've got to have more of these experiences. And the whole scene just went boom. And then 6 months later, we go overseas, and by the time we came back, it was just popping off. Like the whole country was popping off with it. So yeah.
Wow, and you did it completely underground. So that's the crazy thing about it, when it's just like fucking feet on the street, like going to these little zones. You're doing it without mainstream radio airplay or support
on social media.
So any of that.
It was literally, it was fly. This was like finding someone in a town, because we used to do the flyer runs in for the Byron shows. You'd be like, all right, it's a month out. Man, pig would like
get your sticky tape.
You get the sticky tape. You get the stack of flyers, and you'd go in and you get Jeff to photocopy them at Video Easy, and we'd go around and just wrap the post in the flyers.
Video Easy.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So
that's so cool.
So I can remember that like the campaigns for those tours were like, there's no such thing as press in those days. It was literally there was someone that was going to book the hall to put it on, and you'd say, here's the flyer, print them out, and just whack them all over the town. And that was the promotion. That was it. But like, it gave people the same thing, the same ownership of it. But that's all it was. It was like, it was feet on the street.
And yeah,
word of mouth.
And the music's not in stores and like online's not even a thing yet. It's like it's just out of some guy's label in Sydney. You know, there's nothing even close to mainstream about it. And it's just all word of mouth and underground hype.
And imagine the impact. Like if you're someone that's never had anything, like, and then you have a chance to go to one of these shows and the band starts playing, and not only is the band playing, but like you have that ownership of it, and they're like, yo, you can stage dive. You know the words, sing into the mic. It just like, that is when it really becomes something that people like, it's breaking down a whole nother barrier, which is like it feeling accessible. I can do that. I know, like, they're just like me. They're inviting me onto the stage to jump on my mates. They, like, when I hop up, they give me a high five and like go, yeah, lad. Like, that's a completely different thing from rocking up to like an international rock star band and going, oh my God, they're behind a barrier. I could never imagine being that person. This is fully relatable music to people. So all of a sudden they're like, I want to do that. I'm going to start my own band. We're going to do this thing. We're going to try and go on tour. And that's like the turbocharger for the whole thing.
Mate, it's so rad. Your connection to your fans and to your community is something that's like really admirable. And
try.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know what it's like now, but like during that process of coming up, like it sounds like it was so strong. And I think even like back to like bodyboarding cultures are very like piss taking, like shit kicker culture. Like you can't have an ego or a big head in that world. It's just like people fucking rip you to shreds. It's the same in this town. Like fuck, the banter up here is ruthless. Like it's pretty much just how fucking people communicate here is just ripping shreds off each other.
Yeah.
So like it's mad. Like you guys really like represented that culture so well, and like people felt that being a part. It's so crazy when you're a Grom and someone takes you to like your first hardcore show or takes you to your first rave or whatever it is, and you see that shit for the first time.
It's energy, man. That's the thing.
Energy.
It's energy.
You don't. It's weird to say I mean, I think most people have been to a live music concert of some kind. But I think like there's a difference between going to a pub and watching someone like rip out a Jack Johnson cover and going to, like, I'm going to say, some kind of alternative music where it's deliberately louder than you're supposed to, like when you start feeling it. When you rock up to, a rave or a hardcore gig or a metal gig or like a hip hop gig or something like that, and you're like, one of my first things that hit me was like the double kicks. The double kicks through a sub, all of a sudden going, I was like, my God, this feels like a machine gun. Like the adrenaline just spikes in you kind of thing. And that is so addictive and so like, it just lifts your energy up in a way that like you don't get anywhere else. So there's something really like this human connection with it. That thing where you can't talk over the music, you just got to surrender to the music and just go with it. When it's at like a manic energy, what you go to is like feral mania, which is like sick.
and something about that DIY atmosphere, the underground mentality, and like when you're first introduced to that, I don't know what it is, but you feel like a real like gratitude and like love and respect and like admiration for the people that have put that on and the people who you're even there with, and the last thing you want to do is jeopardize the gathering or like, there's just,
and it makes you probably not act like a dickhead
fully.
as well.
It's the tribal thing.
Whereas if there's like seckies and fucking bar staff and like all that shit, like you don't have the same respect for it.
Yeah.
It's because you're given ownership of the space. That's the thing. You're not walking into
Trust.
a different. It's the trust. You're given like someone hands you something and is like, treat it with respect, and that's the thing. The only time we ever had problems with when people fuck with the respect of it, and you just like, see ya, you're out. And it was like a communal thing where 300 people would turn around and be like, see ya. It's like, see ya, go back into town and get pissed. We don't care about it. We just want the gig. So, but that is the thing. It's literally handing someone like agency over what that art space is. And it's something pretty unique to this kind of, it was weird. I can remember even when like Mary Street and those breezy gigs started up, and the concept of like hardcore nightclub and stuff where they just play the music over a PA and people would just go and drink and party. I was just like, this kind of clashes with my concept of what this is in the first place. And it's really strange to come from that kind of place and then to look at where we're at now is like it's weird. Like all of this feels really visceral to me in terms of like us recounting all of these stories and where it started and everything, and to even keep it in context with what the band, I mean, the legacy that this band has and where it's at as an entity and stuff, to still know that that core is there, but also know like what happens to put on a Parkway show now, and like and drawing the line between all of that and knowing where the journey has taken it and how far it is from that point, but also knowing that that point never got kind of washed. It's like still the core of it is just bizarre.
It's so rad that is what is at the core of it. And yeah, it's the rad thing about doing this podcast. You get people to reflect on those kind of pivotal moments, and often they haven't done it in fucking years, decades, if ever before. And it can be like a pretty powerful reminder of
where you came from.
And why you're even doing this to begin with, because it's so easy to lose sight of that. Like, like when you kind of blow up to the level that you do, like, it's the famous saying about bands and rock and roll, and we've experienced it in our little corner of the internet, is like when money becomes involved and like it can all fucking just get so squirrely and you fully lose contact with the genesis, the reason you started it to begin with. And it happens to everyone.
There's reasons for it. Like it's the biggest trip, dude. It's the biggest. It's so, you can't explain it in a way that people will understand to anyone other than the people who live it. And the further you go along that journey, and especially the higher you rise, the harder it is to explain to anyone what it is. Like to explain what it's like doing this thing. It's like it's really, really insane. It's really, really hard to deal with.
The key is keeping control of it. I think we've kept control of it the whole way through. From back then, obviously, no one else wanted to control it, so we had to. And now, as people probably want to come in, and we just stay in control. Like you guys probably do also. Like I'm talking like management and labels and people trying to buy you out and shit like that.
It's that trust thing.
Yeah.
Well, that was the mistake we made, was kind of handing over control so we could focus on what we were doing best, and like putting that trust in people who abuse that trust behind our backs, and that was a fucking deep rattle. But
you learn, eh?
Mate, you do.
Everyone's got the story. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's insane because it's. I think the thing with it as well is like, as people with an artistic goal, you take for granted the fact that, like, unless you're in on the genesis of it and you're one of the artists in the first place, the same thing as doing this, that someone outside of it from like someone that comes from a money perspective or a numbers perspective or a percentage perspective is still coming from it from the same perspective as you, that understands the artistic goal of it in the first place. And you're like, no, their viewpoint of life is completely different. Their passion is these things and it's numbers. You're like, that doesn't compute. And so you got to find people that can that you can connect with, that are really good at that aspect, but fully understand that they don't understand yours, but have respect for it, and vice versa. That's the thing. And figuring out that is really hard, because it's just, you realize that we live in a commercial world, dude. That's the thing. It's like a commercial world run by algorithms these days.
Oh, so, man. Fuck, it's so rattling. And the music industry has such a bad rap. And, we're a part of it, essentially. Like, that's where our infrastructure comes from. Mm-hmm. But I'm not from that world. Like, I'm just a journalist. I'm fucking, and so the reason the music industry has such a bad rap is because, it is such a kind of gaudy, material, kind of capitalist, money obsessed, numbers obsessed space. And that's always been the bottom line of the music industry. And all the infrastructure that you absorb from the music industry, managers, labels, when you go the mainstream route, they're just there to fuck you, basically.
It's not even just the mainstream route. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really interesting one to be involved in because we've been on the time of the decline and the revolution. We missed the peak, and we were never going to be part of the peak because of our sound. We're as mainstream as Parkway is, and we are in Australia, fucking enormous band. but it's still not actually like mainstream like Triple J when it plays these days.
How crazy is that?
So but the thing with it is like for us to be in the music industry, but also outsiders and come in at the crash where Napster makes everything free and the art all of a sudden becomes worthless. Like we've gone from a time of literally watching a generational shift of the idea of the art being worth $30 at a CD store to people saying, I should not have to pay to listen to music. That's a psycho concept. When you actually consider that, that's mad. And consider that there are businesses right now, like the major labels, they're still the same major labels that existed when the entire world was paying $30 for a record. And they're making insane amounts of money and it's crashed. So to think about it from like that perspective of like seeing the revaluation of art, this art as a concept, and the capitalism and all of those kind of things, and the lengths that people will go to hold on to something that they knew when they're at their height of power, which was crazy excess. Like the music industry and the gaudiness and all of that kind of stuff. Real, fully real. Like we worked with like people who are like, man, the 90s were mental. Like the stories that we'd be told while we're recording in someone's garage and they're in a garage setup or a home setup and they've got like gold and platinum records of like massive bands where you're like, okay, I know how many millions of dollars that one record equates to. And then just going, dude, when we were recording that, like it was just like million after million and it was all just drugs and nothing mattered. The label's just like, here you go, here's all of this stuff. And meanwhile, we're like, here's our 10 grand. Hope we can record this record. And they're like, sick. I'm stoked we can do that. And seeing the flip of all of that is just like, it's crazy because like having not been in on that, but watching the change like is a really weird thing to be a part of because essentially you're still doing the same thing, but you're watching everything around you just like watching an empire crumble and eat itself and redefine itself. And then it's one of the most bizarre journeys to watch in relation to something that you care about. So yeah.
Fuck, man. It's so bizarre, especially being from this little bumfuck town.
Yeah.
And then being, rocketed into that world. And
I mean, we've only been on the peripheral of this stuff. That's the thing, because it's like, in terms of, it's more the fact of being able to have an actual perspective of it, because it's like, you just realize where the legends and stuff come from. And it's the thing that rocks me is that era of the peak of music in general and the excess of music and the gaudiness of it and all of that stuff is so outdated now. But that is what people still see it as, and that's what people equate everything to do with music forever. Like any music movie you see or something like that, it's all based in a nostalgic period where billions of dollars are getting thrown around and everyone's wearing aviator sunnies and they're all just doing this and that. And the reality these days is like every touring artist is like working their ass off just battling. Like records are struggling to be made. There's a whole new generation of people like coming up just writing music in their homes, like because they have the ability to do that, which is great. Labels are going under, like labels are ripping off bands, all of this crazy crap that people are doing just to survive. And yet it's still you still have people just going, oh yeah, you must be on the road and flying in your own private jet and just drinking champagne after every show. It must be it's crazy. And you're just like, no, man, we're crunching numbers. Like we're as big as we've ever been and we're hoping to break even.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like the gaudiness exists in the executive class, amongst the managers and in those kind of high-ranking labels. And those reptiles are always fucking waiting for you to get to their level. Yeah. And once you enter their space, they'll fucking rinse you. And they're just waiting there for you. You're like, oh, yeah, you cracked it, kid. Well done. Now let me fucking rip you off.
Give me what you're worth. Yeah. I mean, it's weird because I think I don't think we've ever had a situation where we've been approached by a reptilian in that regard.
True.
Like, I reckon I've been in contact with some reptiles for sure, but we're just always, we never go for it. we're on the outer edge of those kind of things, and we can see it, and we work with people that have dealt with that shit, and they tell you stories and stuff. But we keep control, and
I think we grew a rep for keeping control as well.
Yeah.
I think people may have had an eye, but they're just like, nah, they're not going to go for it, so they don't bother. It's a waste of time. That's the thing.
You know what's crazy? So I was just thinking, like Triple J, it's like the national broadcaster in this country for our international listeners. But like some of the biggest Australian bands of the last 10 years, they haven't wanted to touch them. Like you guys, Emil and the Sniffers, I think they just won fucking 4 ARIA awards, but they had mad beef with Triple J at the start. And then like some of them drill rappers like 1-4 and shit and Cursor and like, music that's, some people like there's fucking millions of people into it.
It's fucking
play
huge.
it on your station. They're voting with their clicks and their listens, but they didn't want to. It's pretty crazy. Like they've. I feel like that's a station that's been very co-opted by that kind of record label sound.
Don't know if it's the record labels, but they've got their like I can't speak to like their struggles, but like.
They got their demographics and
They've
stuff,
got their demographics
and
they got
hone
their
in
things.
on them.
They got
And
their things to
outside
hit.
that, they kind of don't really give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck.
It's all at the end of the day. Here's the thing with it is
there's a formula there that you have to be
there,
in that.
and it's interesting when, this is a harsh thing to say about like an institution like a radio station or something, but it's a business. Even if it's owned by the government and it's a national broadcaster.
We pay for that fucking business.
They're
paying them cunts wages. Play me my music that I like.
The thing with it is like they're still answering to someone. And we live
reptiles that run those
fucking big to a degree. Reptiles that are probably politicians, that's the thing. So they're still told like, and it's all, they're part of the collapse as well. Like everything is part of the collapse. They're just literally just going to one billionaire's platform, which is Spotify. Like I don't even want to get into all of this, but because it's like it's all like everyone knows it, and it's like something that you just kind of go on a spiral with. But like the idea of someone just undercutting everything, taking it all, and then funneling all the funds off to the top of the pyramid is, it's like you've got. Music is happening with Spotify, but obviously it's happening with everything around the planet in terms of like your Amazons, your Apples, everything like that.
Everything.
20 years time, there's going to be 5 companies. There'll be a bunch of subsidiaries under it, but it's all going to be all owned by Tesla, Apple, Spotify, something like that. And music happens to fall under that spectrum. So, this is a massive conversation which people probably are all having themselves and no one wants to hear about. But that's just the reality of what all of this stuff kind of crunches down to.
100%. I'm reading a book, Utopia for Realists by Rutger Bregman. He's a Dutch economist and historian and philosopher. And the gist of the book is basically that that system you're talking about is happening across the world in all these different industries. And basically what we should be doing right now is working 15-hour work weeks and indulging in leisure. And this has been predicted for by John Maynard Keynes since 1930 that by 2030 we'll be working fuck all and just be able to play music, go fishing, go surfing. But this kind of like trippy billionaire run capitalist structure that we're in is preventing all of that. And it's even, it really leaves no industry untouched. It's pretty wild. It's
the thing that nothing ever takes into account is the insatiable factor of human greed. And all it takes is one very manipulative person to be able to facilitate an entire pyramid of that, and people will toe the line to be able to come in.
And it's hard to get off the bottom too.
Hard to get off the bottom, yeah.
All those people.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it's been set up. It's not going to stop.
It's
not going to like so. Yeah, we can. Yeah. What are we on here? An economics podcast or what?
Oh man, we swing in all directions.
No. It's. That's it's a gloomy thing. Like, and the thing is,
but the truth sets you free. As
it does. It 100% does. Like, you've got to you can't just sit here and whinge and then not do anything about it. Like, consciousness to anything is the first step towards making a change of any kind. Any change that you make always starts personal. That's the thing. And it's interesting. The thing that I've always that we, like I said, that I come back to is it's interesting being something that, like being involved in something that's being affected by it. I mean, everyone is, but very specifically, we can go at one point in time, people were willing to pay this for our records. Now they want it for free. And you going, there's the valuation of our art completely changing in the eyes of the public, and it's never going to go back, is a very interesting position to be in because it's very tangible. It's very tangible in terms of like, you've gone through that shift of knowing culture's never going to change in that way. So yeah, that's just our perspective on that aspect of it, and it just filters through to everything else in life.
I want to get back into some surfing, but before I do, quickly, like how grindy did it get in the early days on tour?
Psycho,
Fucking grindy,
dude.
But
Absolutely, like you've got
sleeping on the streets, mate.
Here's the thing, like it's interesting. I think the thing with this band is we've established a law around ourselves in terms of like the docos and everything we put out, that people got an insight into what it was like being in this band and who we are, because we wanted to connect with people in that way. But what they got was essentially 4 hours worth of footage over 4 movies, and people were like, oh man, I know that journey is like stuff that's not on those docos. You got no idea, dude. Like no idea. Like no, it's in terms of like how grindy, how dangerous, how messed up. Like we've seen some shit. Like straight up, we've seen some shit, and I'm stoked we're here.
What do you mean? Give us an idea.
Like there's stuff that we just don't go into, but like it's rough. Like it's fully rough. Like in terms of like there's a thing with like what we put out, which is like it's still entertainment. Like, oh my God, we slept and then we did this and we slept in a ship and blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, we fucking starved for this. Like it was I can remember going days without eating. I can remember like you drive, like the amount of sidewalks that we slept on, like bricks for pillows, like waking up like next to literally in a fucking gutter with your face next to just fucking cigarettes, people breaking into cars while you're sleeping into them, like guns getting pulled, fucking fights, sketchy shit, dude. Sketchy shit all over the world.
All over the world.
All over the world, man. All over the world. Like,
Gets
because
fucking
that's the
sketchy
thing.
out there.
I mean, the thing with it was like we toured hard. And by hard, I mean like even we chose to save all our money in every way we could, so we could put it back into this thing and keep it going. Because we watched bands like have no money and burn out and stop, and we're like, well, we got to save money to be able to do this. So let's just buy our own van, and we're going to live in the van every time we tour the States, and just drive across the country in this van that would be breaking down, and we'd all sleep in it. We'd all be getting sick. We had
like 10 dudes sleeping in one Sprinter van.
Yeah.
Overnight drives.
To
then get to the show the next day, and then there's fuck all people there, and barely any give a fuck.
Playing to 30 people. Yeah.
But we always had faith as well. Like because we'd semi-succeeded in Australia already, but like people will get it and they will come on board, and we're still doing it now. Like in the States, we're like, there's room to grow there. They will come on board like Europe and Australia have, So we're still having similar feelings now as we did back then, except back then it was fucking hard, physically hard, mentally hard, and draining. But I don't think we ever. I'm sure there was. My memory's kind of shit, but there was times where we might have discussed just giving up and going home, but I don't think we did.
No, we didn't. We just got through.
It was always part of it.
We just got through. I think like
because there was always something next on the horizon. Okay, let's grind through this shit tour for 2 weeks, and then we get to go back to Europe, and that'll be fucking better. Yeah,
it was weird. Like we just put our head down and went, and that was kind of it. And like you kind of just suffer for it, which is so strange. Like it's like dude, the sicknesses that used to go through it. Like our Sprinter van was set up. We built bunks in the back in terms of like just one platform, and there was 2 people that slept on the bottom, which had zero light. Once you were in, you closed the back doors. They couldn't get out, which was called the goat. Like it was where you chuck the goats.
That was the goat box.
That was the goat box. Me and Luke slept in the Kingdom, which was the one above it, which was open to to the next section, which had like windows on the side. Then what was Gaz and Jeff's?
The Garbos?
So we had one bench seat just behind the driver's seat, and then we took the one out behind that. So between the bunks and that bench seat, there was gym mats, which this section called the Garbos, which Gaz and Jeff slept in.
And that was literally
everyone threw
their
their trash in there, so they slept in garbage. Then someone slept on the bench seat, and then someone slept next to the driver and tried to keep him awake, and then someone drove, and we slowly rotated. Like sometimes I drive, sometimes Pig drive. Most of the time the roadie drive, and that's just how we got like 5 weeks straight tours playing every single night, because every night you didn't play spending money and you weren't making anything back, so you wanted to play every night. So you're going on like, cool, it's a 5-week tour of America, and you handed like the tour pass, and it's just like you can't see the end of it. And you just tick off every day, and one person would get sick in that van, and everyone would get sick in it, and you're just rolling around. And like sometimes it's amazing. It was the best thing ever. You're just driving through America on these highways, and it's sunny, sipping down big gulps, playing Uno in the back, having an absolute party. But when it was bad, and it was like freezing cold, and like you don't have a hotel, and you're pulling over on the side of the road, you're hoping that no one's going to rob you,
and you haven't been home in weeks,
haven't been home in months, and like the next show is going to be absolutely shit, because you've played that place before and no one gives a fuck about you, but you're going to do it because you really want to, like the only way to get through to these people is keep exposing yourself to them. That's just what we did.
Mate, that is amazing. That is one of the greatest stories of all time. You guys are proper like hardcore missionary monks, like fully suffering, fully fasting, like.
Yeah.
But we gotta have faith, man. Faith in the dream and the vision.
Dude, I ate raw corn off the cob for 5 days straight, because I had like $10 left, and I was like, I can get a sandwich, or you can get a bag of raw corn cobs for $10. And if I eat just those raw corn cobs, I can survive the next 5 days. And like the other guys hadn't fucked up with their money, so they had some shit to eat, and I just ate raw
It's
corn.
like the core Indo dudes just eating white nasi putti.
Yeah. Wasn't even ramen, it was just like raw corn from some shop in Pennsylvania.
I knew I shouldn't have bought that Snickers back in Ohio.
Dude, it was 100% that. It was fully that. Like it was so strange. The only thing I can compare it to is like my first 2 seasons in Hawaii, when I had no money and the exchange rate was crap, and I was like, do I buy this 50-cent soda or can I eat twice as much pasta tonight for dinner?
Hey, well, that was my question. Where did the grit come from to get through all that?
Surf trips?
Surf trips a bit. No, I think
this is like long, sustained grind.
Look, it was just
road.
like at some point in time. The first time we went overseas, we quit our jobs, and that was when it was like you're now shifting it into the all in.
Yeah,
it's all in.
When you have nothing to go back to,
That's
it really helps.
And it's not only nothing to go back to. It's like it's not like you're going back to Sydney with nothing to go back to. You're going back to Byron. There's nothing there. There's nothing there.
And I think a few of us had good work ethic too, just in general.
Yeah, we did.
Just as a core base, like.
I mean, the way we
mentality,
approached it.
And if you got good work ethic, you can.
We always went on stage and we're just like, whoever played before us, we're going to play harder than them, and we're going to make sure the people that play after us have a rough time. Like, not a rough time in terms of us making it shit for them. We're just like, we're going to play hard. We're going to put 110% into every single show, and we're going to make sure it translates. That's the thing. So the work ethic was always there in terms of like, there was never a show when you just rocked up and you're like, yeah, whatever. And it's interesting because like there's bands that we've toured with where they would openly just go, fuck this, I don't want to play this gig, I don't want to be here. And you'd watch them on stage and they're like,
and they literally don't give a fuck.
They'd actually say it, and they wouldn't give a fuck. But we're like, dude, we're on the other side of the world. I can't believe we get to do this. Fuck this. This is what we want to do. Let's go skits. And you'd go skits every single night. And it was what people always responded to it. Like, you'd talk to people after the gig and they'd just be like, never heard of you. Can't believe how much energy you guys have. And that was it. And from then they'd just it would just tick over. The thing for us is like, we've never had a moment where it's been that huge like 0 to 1,000. All of a sudden, boom, you're the thing. It's just been constant ticks up, constant, like it's all like so much of it has been reliant on people just going to a gig and going, you got to come see this band next time. That's it. Just grabbing one friend and all of a sudden there's twice as many people there. And it's exponential growth from 10 people. So it's like 10 people, then it's 20 people, then it's 40 people. It's 80
It's
people.
so fun. It's the exact same mentality right now, like right at this
it's
point in
exactly the same.
time.
It's still the same.
It's the same as back then.
It's
like
just-
it's still slowly growing, slowly growing. Like
It's
you
just
said,
back in the day that like you went through those places maybe twice a year. So to get to 40 to 80 people took you 3 years. Like just in the equation of it. And their jumps were a lot smaller. But you'd see the jumps, so you'd keep coming back. It's only been like the last post-COVID where it's like fully just like, holy shit, this is like fucking mental. It was mental before that, but just not on the level it is now. Yeah.
Oh, mate, I love that underdog, like what I would say is like a classic Australian mentality.
Yeah, it's the underdog
and-
story.
Yeah, it's so classic. And that's like the epitome of what being an underdog is like, oh, no one expects us to make it.
Yeah.
We're here, we're fucking grinding, life shit.
Yeah.
But we have this moment to go out there and fucking blow some minds.
Yeah.
So like, let's psych up and put on a show. And I see a lot of that in someone like Amy Taylor, right, from Emil and the Sniffers.
Hell yeah. Mullum.
She's from Mullum. Mate, there's no way that she wasn't influenced by you guys.
Well, I used to go to gigs, mates with Breno.
oh shit.
Yeah,
There
they
you
used to
go.
come to gigs. I met him at the Kerrang Awards years ago. Legends. So stoked on him killing it as
They're
well. I know.
crushing it.
Watch. I tell you what's interesting. You can tell someone who grew up in the hardcore scene. Full stop. And this goes internationally. There's plenty of bands where I can hear a delivery or see a movement in a front person or just the energy where I'm like, used to be involved in the hardcore scene. Straight up. Like this goes for pop, rap, fucking folk music, anything. There is something about the energy of hardcore shows which seeps into the delivery that someone will put forward on stage if they go anywhere in terms of any other performance after it. And it's so wild how quickly you can pick up on it when you know what it is that you're looking for. And it's so much of the X factor in so many artists around the planet, which people are like, oh, they're so, man, you got to see these people live. And you're like,
Yeah, came from the hardcore scene.
came from the hardcore scene.
But that's also not even just performance.
That's it,
It's
yeah.
in the business world too. Like I'll
Yep.
deal with agents and label people and shit. And if it's someone that's come from the hardcore world, they're just a fucking legend and they just get it. They just get us, I think.
And they're
more.
at the top of the game right now.
And you get someone
so
that's come
many-
from another sort of avenue into the music industry, and I'm sure some people it works, but it's different when they're from the hardcore scene for sure.
Yeah. And they're generally really good. Like that work ethic, that
Yeah.
underdog grind. If you know the underdog grind, it translates into whatever you do. It's so weird. Like, and everyone that we've ever gravitated to in the industry, and like, we're lucky to work with amazing people. A lot of them we've stuck with. A whole bunch of new people have come into our world. But all of a sudden, whenever we're like, we need someone else on the team and we get recommended to someone, it's just like, where'd you start out? Oh, this hardcore scene. These are the bands. And we're like, yep, they're the bands that we like. And then we just talk shit about bands. And then you're just like, how do you do things? They're like, oh, same way you guys do it. That's it. And so it just translates across the board. So, yeah.
Mate, the whole hardcore scene is an underdog scene when you think about it, because it's not a kind of music that anyone would have ever thought would have mainstream success.
No.
And it's marginalized by society. It's misunderstood. It's like, oh, these people are fucking tattered, violent, antisocial. It's like, it's actually none of those things. It's like the complete opposite of all those things. I mean, yeah, there's tattoos and whatever, but like people are very social, very community minded. And it's like there's just some kind of like kinship and camaraderie that you're talking about there, like where you've been through that world and you have maximum respect for other people who've been through that world, because it's such a fucking culture.
It's the DIY ethic. It's the code and the ethos. That's the thing. It's interesting. Like, it's literally, in terms of like,
And there's a lot of punk ethos in it too.
100%, because it
The
comes from
DIY,
punk. That's the thing. It's
fuck the mainstream
hardcore. It's
kind of
hardcore punk.
shit, yeah.
It's counterculture. And the bigger it gets, it's interesting because it forges an identity where you don't want to sell out on it. And you realize the value of not selling out on it. Like prime example we have is like Mr. Brett at Epitaph. Like absolute lord. Like top of the, like I'm pretty sure Epitaph like still the biggest independent record label in the world.
I think so.
He still gives a fuck about everything that comes through. Still a full-on mate. Still comes out to all of our gigs. Has from day one. Still cares about everything that goes on, and it's all just about the music for him. And be like, it still just translates through. Like he was never like the suit.
Like he's got some stories.
Well, he's got some stories. He's got some stories.
He does. And that's the thing, right? It's like, it's kind of like you're all tapping your nose at each other. It's like, yeah, we've got this suit on. I'm working in a bank. I'm doing whatever I got to do to get by. But who I really am is the guy from the hardcore scene. Like, and that's my culture. Yeah. And yeah, I'll play ball in this capitalist realm, and I'll fucking tick all the boxes I got to do to like make money and raise a family and all the rest of it. But like, everyone has to do that. Otherwise, you starve. Yeah. But you don't have to agree with it. And I feel like almost no one in that hardcore world really agrees with the mainstream fucking way of doing things.
I don't think so.
Because it's a pretty cooked way of doing things. Let's be honest.
It just is. It's counterculture, and that's what the lyrics like. I mean, that's where the lyrics come into it. It's like you've got people stuffed into suits who don't want to be stuffed into suits. I'm sure they'd rather be doing something else. Like even if they love what they're doing, they'd probably love to be doing it in a different capacity than just like making money for someone up the chain and eventually for a logo. But that's the way the world functions, and that's the thing. So the act of rebellion is the creation of or the involvement in this scene, which openly sings like fuck society, fuck this thing that we're involved in. And it's not always just about like, it's not necessarily about like going, all right, I'm going to grab a Molotov and I'm going to nuke something to cause change. It's just an outlet for people to be able to go like, I'm counter to the way that this world functions, that we've set things up. So.
That's so interesting, man. I've spent a lot of time in Indonesia, as I'm sure you guys have as well, and like the punk scene's fucking huge
raging,
there.
hey,
and it has been since the 90s really. And a lot of the shows there are about exactly that. It's about catharsis because they live in such a broken system. Where they've had, and they know it, they've had so much money and resources stolen from them, and they live in fucking poverty, and their one outlet is to fucking throw shapes and go absolutely ham-bone at a hardcore show.
Sure. Yeah, it's universal. It's worldwide. That's the thing. It's cool to be conscious of that, and like I think the interesting thing, I keep saying I think the interesting thing, but I think the important thing is that people understand it. I think it's very hard to broadcast an outsider code and an outsider value to people who don't have their minds necessarily expanded to it and do just go tattoos, loud music, screaming music, scary, wow. And I mean, for Parkway to be kind of the vanguard of like in Australia of breaking that ceiling, if that makes sense, of like perspective of being in a position where someone will give you a platform. I get to go on the project or something like that. And you're like, yo, what's this all about? And you can actually tell people what it's about, and people go, oh, sweet. It's not like, it's so easy for people to just go, you're screaming about killing goats, Satan. Yeah. And I'm like, cool caricatures, man. Like it's, there's so much more to this than what the caricature is able to portray. And then at the same point in time, I'm sure you would actually really relate to so much of what this is actually about. But it's kind of spiky music, spiky music for spiky people. But at those, like, it's needed. It's needed. That the catharsis is needed.
It fucking is, man. The catharsis. I mean, like that's what Fight Club, the book, is about. Dude. It's like why fucking jiu-jitsu gyms and like Hood Contender and 1 minute scraps and like there's all these kind of like
it's an outlet.
All these outlets of controlled violence in and that's what fucking mosh pits are essentially. They're pretty controlled violence. But like you talk about getting acknowledgement from the project and from the mainstream, mate. What was it like getting the ultimate acknowledgement from the cafe latte and Aperol spritz sipping bourgeois elites at the Opera House, dude? The fucking turtleneckers, mate. They gave you guys.
No, they were legends. Here's the thing, like.
They're full legends.
Full legends, and it's their team. They're just creatives as well. So it's interesting because like,
and they want to sort of lose that sort of
That's it.
title and that perception too.
Because that's been put onto them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like,
Mate, they put on insane shows there. I
Yeah.
saw fucking Underworld at the
Yeah.
Opera House. Like the absolute pioneers of like
Yep.
rave music. I was high on MDMA and acid, just fucking wigging out. And
Yeah.
that crazy, like, how's
Yep.
the sound in there?
Oh,
And you guys,
insane. Hey,
the
what a
sound
room.
you have to go copy like a mental gig in there.
Yeah, yeah,
The best sound
yeah.
in the world
Yeah.
has to be.
And
I
the
mean,
architecture, you just
architect-
look around and you're
the
like,
whole
what
thing,
the
it's-
fuck is this?
yeah, it's
and
the
you
most
guys are in the middle of it, backed by a fucking orchestra.
dude. It was like being in that room. Just the fact that we get to have a connection with it, but like we got shown through the entire thing as well, which is just like you get to see the bones of that place. Like, and I mean the show and everything was like mental, absolutely mental. Everything around the show is just as mental. Like we got like they literally like shut the Opera House down and we just get private tours around any point you want just to see it with no one in there. Is mad. Like I've literally climbed up this top of the sails and like seen the interior of this thing or the skeleton of like this building and how it's put together. And at no point in time is anything about that place like, oh, this is kind of normal. It's all mind blowing. Every aspect of it is mind blowing. So to be able to like do that gig, do it in the way we did it was it's going to be like one of those when people are like, what's the best gig you ever played? That's going to be like definitely always up there. No matter what happens in the career of the band, that experience is like, which is weird because I don't remember heaps about the gig. What about you?
No, the gig was like, it was over like that.
Yeah.
It was 2 hours and it felt like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
But building, it was like so much work. Just like playing with an orchestra. Sure, you play with an orchestra, but how does the orchestra, like the work to get the orchestra to write the song with you, like
The project is insane.
it was fucking
Insane.
The
only thing I could kind of
So the show was just like a blur that, oh my God, it happened.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like, it's almost like the project in itself and the execution of it has had more impact in my brain than the actual feeling of the show. Yeah. Because the show, was just, I can remember getting to like intermission and going, holy crap, it's almost done.
We're making a movie out of it too.
Yeah.
So that'll come out next year and
a
that'll
live
give
album.
us a chance to reflect on it too.
Yeah.
Because we kind of haven't really.
It's strange, yeah. You kind of do, when you're in this position, you kind of do rely on the feedback of photos and video footage back at you after you do something, even any old gig, because you're so in the zone of execution. It's this is like the wankeriest, I don't know if it's wankery, but like with the stunt stuff that I've done with the band, like I've worked with the same crew for all of it, and the head guy, Jimmy, absolute legend, shout out Jimmy if you're listening. The way he explained it was just like, when you're doing these crazy things, it's the coolest shit in the world, but you can't think of it like that while you're doing it. You just have to focus on executing the task. And once the task's done, you disconnect that and you experience the joy through watching the footage or seeing the video or stuff like that. Heaps of what we do is kind of like you're lost in the moment and it's fantastic, but then it hits you in a bigger way when you get to see back what that moment actually was from a different lens, which is a really strange thing. And for us, like when you go on tour and you play the similar show 30 times in a row, there's a lot more of a chance to be in that moment, and that moment become less focused about executing the task and it become just more fluid. And then the pictures and stuff, they have the same impact, but you remember a lot more of the show. The Opera House show was one and done. Like we rehearsed with the orchestra once, 4 hours before we played the gig.
Oh, wow.
Went and had dinner, came back and played the gig, and then it was done. And that's it. So there was no, we literally walked in, orchestra was playing with us on the rehearsal, and we're like, holy crap, this sounds amazing. Okay, let's go and get some food. Came back in, did the whole thing. The mood was just super intense, but you're playing the songs, you're trying to get the vision across that you've had in your brain that you've built this whole thing up to in terms of like executing everything correctly, because you are putting on a show. And then all of a sudden you're walking off stage and you're like, you don't have another show to go, oh, next time I'm going to enjoy it more. It was done. So we haven't seen the footage back. So we don't know what it's like.
Yeah.
That's a really long explanation.
The energy
but like,
in the room was next level though. It was
Yeah, it
something
was, I
else,
can remember
as
that.
you probably experienced when you're in the Opera House.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about it that just elevates the the energy.
There's like almost like a density to the sound where it feels like you can move it like water. Like there's like a thickness, like a resonance in the joint that's fucking so mind melting. And I'm glad it went well for you guys because the last punk gig I saw there was Royal Headache. And you know Royal Headache?
No.
Sydney band? Fuck, they're amazing, man. The lead singer has had some emotional, mental disturbances, so they play sporadically, but they're like one of the best underground Sydney bands for sure.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, there was a little bit of a like stage invasion or some shit, and a bunch of like fucking ASIO feds rushed the stage and shut the whole gig down. It was psycho, and then they were just pegging cans at the fucking stage.
Oh,
yeah.
In the opera house. It was a nightmare.
Yeah. It's I can see like they're. I mean, it's a national icon. They just want to protect it.
Pretty protective. They got special seconds there. There was red dots buzzing around. It's like Predator.
Yeah,
like
100%. Like it was. It's interesting. Like it was the fact that they even wanted us to play in the first place in terms of like the opportunity being provided to us.
And all the marketing promotional shit around it. There's a couple of people in the Opera House staff that really made that happen. Like if they weren't there, it would just be like play your show and get out. But they help facilitate so much shit, and they're on board. They want different things to happen. The whole slogan's "It's our house." They want it accessible to everyone. So
fucking love that,
maybe
dude.
It's changing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's cool, man. Because it is the greatest venue on earth. Why not open it up to the public and get all forms of music in there? That's rad.
Let everyone like enjoy it and experience it.
Oh, it's so sick, man. All right, surfing, Pig. Like, I understand, man. You're infamous for strikies. Like, you've fucking absolutely milked it. Like, you've used all of the resources from your immense rock and roll career to fucking score through the Japs eye. Like, talk us through like one of the crazy ones.
Tell us all your spots.
I think it helped.
Yeah, you have to blow any zones. Like,
being in this band helped, like you said before. It's a vehicle to access the surfing world. For me, it was for a period of time because finish your tour in Europe. There's places close to Europe that are really good. It's Portugal just there. Finish your tour in the States. Mexico's just there. Like you're in the zone, ready to go. And then I don't know, like I said, I missed out on a bit of surfing when I was a bong smoking punk. So once I tapped back in and I realised I wanted to get barreled, I kind of made it my mission to go to a few places that you could get barreled.
How far are we talking? Like to what lengths would you go? Like I'm hearing like 40-hour flight marathons, like the works.
Yeah, skitsy shit. Like dudes do. Like,
some of the ones that you've told me are not things that normal people do.
No. But I've done
not things that normal people
like
do.
Solly's been to a couple of zones that
It's not about the zone, it's about the way you've got there. It's blown my mind.
Yeah, give us the insight.
And I like to go solo too.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's stories floating around like that you hear from multiple people of, I'm not dropping names or places, but of like zones that are fully isolated that a team is going to for some secret mission or something on some rare swell to like a place that no one knows about, and they do all of this stuff and blah 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 blah, and then they get to the beach and there's one other person there, and then it's him, or they're on the final bus and there's just like, what the fuck are you doing here? He's like, going for a surf, and it's just Pig on the other side of the planet by himself somewhere super remote. And there's all these people just like, you bump into them in the surf or something. It's like, yeah, I bumped your guitarist on this wild mission we went on to in dirt. And we had to fly for like 30 hours and sign this and that. And then when we got there, there's one guy there and it's your guitarist, Luke. I'm like, how the hell did you get here? And it's just like, oh, I knew about it. I was going to go for a surf.
Yeah. So I heard you found Fanning's Wave somehow. Like, how are you doing that? Like, how are you? Are you some hacker, cyber hacker?
I just got kind of obsessed with it. I know a couple of people that like had similar interests of finding these waves, and I don't know, we just spent the time and then went like lots of skunkings, like flying places.
His nickname literally used to be Skunk King.
So I thought his wave was in Oman. I went to Oman and drove the whole coast after a US tour.
Think about that, folks.
Drove the whole coast solo.
I thought it was in Oman, so I drove the entire coast looking for a wave. Like that's not going on Google Earth. That's going to a country and driving the length of it to see if a wave existed.
You probably got
Sounds
waves,
pretty
though.
psycho.
It's,
There's heaps of waves there.
Yeah.
But like wind swelly sort of waves. And when I was on the plane there, I kind of realised actually it's not there because of a couple of things. But no, it's fun.
yeah, I'm sure
It's
it will be.
fun looking for waves, especially like finding one you've seen, like that Nacho wave. I don't know if you've seen that one. Similar to the mix, long right, roping point. You see it, and then you're like, fuck, I want to surf that. And then there's just little clues. These days, a lot easier to find them, I think, with AI and shit like that. But yeah, I just got obsessed with it. Went to a few waves, and now I don't go on that many trips these days. Got a young family and all that shit. But I've got my couple of zones that, if the swell comes, I'll go.
Talk us through one of the most heroic swell chases where you did score, where you went the extra mile and scored.
You don't have to say where.
You don't have to say where, yeah.
Well, we found
You're so off guard. Yeah, all right, I guess I'd say.
we found this one long right point, like just sound like miles long, and it was pretty hard. It's pretty hard to surf, and I'm not like a pro or anything, but even there were pro lids there. I've seen pro lids there, pro surfers there. They're getting a few barrels, so we just realised you need a ski there. So this is like fucking out there. Somehow we managed to buy a ski, and now I've got a ski there with a mate. That's probably the wildest thing I've done, for sure. And it breaks once a year, I think, pretty much. Just once or twice a year.
Just got a ski.
And I've got a ski waiting there for when it goes.
I think I know the spot.
You probably would.
Yeah, I think me and Colby went there.
No.
No?
I know where. I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it.
It wasn't not that
I
one.
got a mate with a ski there. That's why I was talking to Colby, where you two went.
Yeah.
I was sending
Yeah.
you guys
I
there.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was mental.
I don't think
Like
like
into a pretty
Nah,
mental day.
this spot's way wilder than that.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one's pretty accessible.
so that Mick one was in between those shows as well, wasn't it?
That was just. I've been a mix on a few times.
Yeah, but one of them.
I've been skunked most times.
So
True.
so one of
Don't-
them.
Don't try and go there. It's
We
a waste of
literally.
time.
You want big mission? It was a 3-day off day between shows on a festival run in Europe. We had 3 days off, and like I just stayed in Prague because the next show was there. I'm just like, I've got to recover. And someone went on a 1-day thing, and we're just like, there's no time to go anywhere. And Big's like, oh, that looks like there's a forecast here, and we're like, do not go anywhere south of here because we want to make sure you get home, you get back on tour to finish these festivals. And he's like, no, I won't do that. I'm just going to go down to Portugal. And comes back, shows happen, that's fine. And then a couple of years later, we find that he's flown literally like halfway around the planet.
No, it was pretty easy.
It was pretty easy. It was pretty easy, but that's when he did one of the missions down to one of those waves in this like, and it was literally just like fly, like on a 3-day off day between festival shows. He saw a forecast at one of these super remote waves and had to fucking hit it. So did everything he could to get gear from people and go to this
It
place.
was a dream result. The timing, it was just perfect. And I always make sure there's a backup flight.
Yeah. He's good. He's never missed a show, but it was just like, holy crap. So that's when you're talking like missions that he'd do. It's like the time, even down to the time frame of it. If he sees something which he can make happen, he'll make it happen.
Yeah, because it's the payoff for the hard work you're putting in musically. Like it's this kind of,
and it tickles another thing for his like career. Like he's the manager of the band. Like this dude's Mr. Logistics. So the idea of like pulling off this diamond, like the diamond in the rough, and figuring out how to get to the diamond in the countdown that's happening with the funds that you have now, like tick all the boxes. Like, and
You
at the
relate
end,
it to the way,
yeah,
I work within the band,
Yeah,
like my
sick.
capacity in the band. I guess I can use those skills
yeah,
to find waves.
yeah.
you're like the Rain Man of strikies. You're
Yeah.
like that's your passion is just crunching logistics and layovers and fucking.
Nah, there's more skits guys than me out there, but just my mates who you've probably spoken to think it's pretty wild, and no one around here really does it.
Nah, not many people have the resources to.
No.
But Tubby also said, ask you about the rubber ducky. What happened to the rubber ducky?
Winston was with me with
I
the
was
rubber
there.
ducky.
It was me and him and Jeff.
So around here, you're not allowed to have jet skis around here, as you know, in the Byron Sanctuary. So we have these Thundercat inflatable boats with 50 horsepower engines on them, so we can whip each other around. And when it's big on the open side, we can tow. But we were just fucking around one day, me, Jeff, and Winston, Well,
You just got
we
the new
timed
boat?
it. I just got my new boat, so we just went for a burn
Just a
over at
burn.
7 Mile.
It was just like literally like,
It was like 1 foot.
tune the engine in. It was like one
Just
foot.
doing little airs on
Yeah.
one footers.
Yeah.
We all fell out of the boat. The boat went out to sea, and I never saw it again.
No.
I got the. Do you want an
can
elaboration of the
elaborate?
story? Because I talk a lot, but you really don't want to tell more. All right.
Oh, come
That's
on.
pretty. So we towed each other around a bunch. It's a brand new boat, like brand new. It was
Didn't
really
insure
nice.
it yet. Like 2 days new.
It was in between insurance windows. The old insurance had lapsed. The new one was kicking in 2 days. We drive up to 7 Mile, do a bunch of airs, almost out of fuel. We're like, let's bail back. We start driving back. We're towing Jeff into a couple. Pig's like, we've just swapped over drivers between me and him, and Pig's driving, and he didn't put the lanyard on because we're just driving back like nothing's going to happen. Literally driving back and just towing Jeff as we go.
We actually said, "Hey, we're getting low on fuel. We
Yeah.
got to go."
Yeah.
So
And we tow Jeff into one, and we go over this like 1 footer. And as we go over, like it was so shallow on the bank that the front just nosedived into the bank, and we just like went doom, just bucked us out. And after not dying from the engine running over us, because it was like fuck, we stood up and we're like, oh my god, that's funny. And it's just kind of going, just motoring around, and the throttle's stuck on it. It's just doing burnouts, and we're just laughing our ass off because we got kicked out and it's doing these wheelies and stuff. And we're like, let's get the boat back. And it just keeps burning up and down this bank and hitting waves and turning around, and we're trying to like jump into it, get close to it. In the meantime, we're just pissing ourselves laughing. And then it got out behind the actual bank and just started doing laps. And it was like waist deep water, and we couldn't run anymore. And we're like, fuck, how are we going to catch this thing?
but then we're like, it's sweet. It's got
It's
no
sweet, it's
fuel.
got no
left.
fuel.
It's just going to run out of fuel.
We just sat there. We sat there on the beach, just going, all right, it's going to run out of fuel. It's just doing doughies, and it would come in almost to the beach and then go out and hit a wave, and the wave would turn it out and come back in, come back in. And on one of the laps, it got further out than the waves, and the waves stopped hitting it. And it just kept doing doughies, but slowly getting further and further
drifting out.
And it's
Instead of
slowly
in.
getting further out, and we're like, it's cool. It's going to run out of fuel. And we're like, Pig, you better go get someone to like, we're going to have to drag it in. So he had to run up 7 Mile to like get a phone to call someone to get Berkey to come with another boat. And me and Jeff just sat there on the dunes and watched this boat over half an hour, just slowly going out to sea, slowly going out. And then it finally went over the horizon. And we're like, shit, she's out there. And so we literally drew an arrow on the sand of like, boat went that way. For when Pig gets back, we're like, there's the reference point, boat went out there.
Wow.
Berkey rocks up with the boat, and we all pile into two other boats, and we hammer out to sea to try and find it.
And by that point, the sou'easters sort of come up, so there's white caps
Yeah.
everywhere.
We're out far, like you can just see land. It's like deep as fuck, just see land. Cannot see this thing. It's just gone. Can't see it. Drive around for a bit. We're just like, it's done. It's fully done. It's gone. And then we just went home, and we're just like, his brand new boat just drove out
Hang
to
on,
sea.
there's
by
more
itself.
to it.
Yeah.
Because we had the next day, didn't we have a movie premiere?
Had a movie
Movie
premiere.
premiere in
Yep.
Sydney.
Yep.
So we're all going
No, it was that night.
It was that night. So we were all flying down to Sydney that day to go to a movie premiere. Was it home? One of our
That was the first one, I think.
movies, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't go. And I got to find this boat. So I went to Ballina, got in the helicopter, called up the helicopter service, and just started doing laps from Evans all the way up past the Cape, southeast current. I checked I was seeing turtles like this big, and it was nowhere to be seen. Just could not see it. Missed the premiere, lost the boat.
Wow.
We're
Sunday.
at the premiere in Sydney, and the movie's rolling, and every time Pig's head had come up, people are just going, "Where's your boat? Where's your boat?"
But I got a theory that the crab fishermen who were heading back to Ballina, I think did we see some boats? Do you remember that?
I can't remember. I don't think
I
we
reckon
did,
a
but
crabby picked it up on the way home and yanked it and
chucked
took
it in
the
shit.
motor off it.
Yeah, that's possible.
Or it's fucking in New Zealand.
True.
Yeah, lost away. But I heard you had a bit of a mishap on the ski.
Oh yeah,
recently.
Yeah, we had to get towed back in. Yeah, just classic fishing mission. Gone
Yeah.
tits up, fucking blew it out.
Did you flip the ski? Or
Nah, I didn't flip the ski. Nah, just the fucking
just died.
Just some like oil line leak, filled the engine up, and yeah, just a classic stitch up.
How far out?
Oh, not far. We made it through the bar limping.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Didn't have to paddle it back in.
nah, probably should have though. Fuck. I was chatting to Kobe the other day and he said like as soon as it goes onto limp mode, he pretty much gets off the ski and starts swimming it in.
Yeah,
Like,
right. We flipped
Free on with a jet ski out there, yeah. Fuck. If it goes into limp mode, turn the cunt off and fucking swim it in. Keep and always have fins like flippers.
Yeah.
Always have fins.
Always have
Yeah.
Didn't have them. So
We flipped a Thundery once.
Yeah, right.
My mate Thundery at Belongil. Pretty new Thundery as well, Berwins.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I've flipped them. Yeah.
And we had to and we surfed it in.
Oh my god, yeah.
We paddled it in and there was like 3 footers down at Belongil and we surfed it in. And I think
That's a good thing with skis and those boats though. They just you get them on a wave and they just
they
fucking-
go in. Yeah.
They go in on their own.
And man, like I got to know too, like going back to the golden age of bodyboarding, like the Hawaii seasons back in the day. Like I had mates from home who were on a similar roster, the Bunting brothers, Jose,
Yeah, right.
all
Yeah,
those
yeah,
kind
no,
of
them.
guys.
Yeah, legends.
Yeah. And I understand it was like that was like you were roughing it then. That's like that's very like reminiscent of what Parkway went through.
100%. I got the same staph infection in Hawaii as I went on to get in Parkway. Yeah, man. Like it was. I mean, it was like peak bodyboarding and bodyboarding in Hawaii. Like was in terms of like the amount of lids in the ocean. The 2000 to 2004 was like skits and sketch because of it. Like it was like full overload, and locals were not happy. Like it was so
influx of lids on the North
influx
Shore.
of lids. Like it was like you remember back in the day, like every mag would run the Hawaii season, and you get like 1 or 2 mags a year, which was just the Hawaii shots. So like everyone, you had to go there, like to kind of prove you could do anything. It was before like heaps of. It was still that was the place to go, like, and pipe was the wave to surf. So it was just crazy because like everyone's trying to surf these waves, everyone's trying to prove himself, and like you paddle out a pipe at 3 a.m. and there's 30 guys out already.
Wow.
It's so gnarly. And then like when it's pumping, there's like 200 guys in the water, 30 of them are locals. It's like most of them are 18-year-old Australian bodyboarders just frothing all over the place in everyone's way, like just wanting to get a wave, and dudes are just blowing up everywhere. Just get the fuck out of the way, get out. Like dudes are getting bashed on the beach. It was so gnarly, man. Like you'd paddle out there just scared. Like, and it wasn't like scared of the waves because like, but then like it was navigating the lineup as well because you didn't want to burn someone, you didn't want to get burnt, you didn't want to get caught inside, you still wanted to catch a wave. And the longer you didn't catch a wave, the more intense everything got, and the whole atmosphere was just like supercharged. Like when you got good ones, it was sick, and there was like you'd be there for just months on end. Like I'd go over there for like 3 months, and just stay in like a full-on shithole with like 12 guys, and it's just mattresses on the floor and that's it, and like a little camping stove and that's it, and you'd be paying like $10 a week rent or something and just grinding through it just to surf, and you'd be on every single swell and you'd be up at 3 a.m. to like go surfing, and that was it, just trying to get good waves. And it's weird because like I didn't get really good waves at pipe until like years after that, when I just started going back there just for the fun of going back rather than trying to like crack it. Like I can remember getting a couple of good waves on those first 2 seasons, which were like decent, but it was like if you got one wave out there in a 4-hour session, you'd be like, yes. And for me, like I when I go for a surf, I like getting a lot of waves. So to go somewhere like that and be patient and also be terrified the entire time, it was just a heavy vibe to be part of.
You surf
So,
when you go?
I surfed off the wall a lot, surfed logs a lot, like backdoor and stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Like and you'd be out there on those pipe days, but it was just super intense.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I never went left out there really. I just was chasing backdoor.
yeah,
But,
that's it. But it was just like I mean, there's nothing that compares to getting super pitted at pipe. Like best wave of my entire life is pipe. That's it, straight up. And
Wow.
this was only like, it would have been I think 10 years ago. It's weird because like I did those first 3 seasons and then didn't go back because Parkway kicked off and we started touring, and then I was just like, I'm going to go to Hawaii one year, and went back, and it was way more chill because like the bodyboarding boom had peaked and it wasn't as crowded. It was nowhere near as crowded.
Yeah, it's like the bodyboarding boom happened at Pipe, and then it's like you guys kind of realize, wait, why would we go through all this hassle to get these waves when we have so many comparable waves?
A lot of that happened. Like Canaries got discovered, like Fronton popped off. Dudes realized that waves were sick. South Coast popped off everywhere.
Yeah.
Like heaps. All of a sudden, like you know how there was a big period of time where like Pipe and Waimea and Mavericks were like the big wave spots. Like, and then all of a sudden things started getting discovered, and big slabs started getting discovered, and things started getting the envelope pushed. Cyclops pops up, like. All of like the right pops up, and all of a sudden the bar changes. And
you were a part of this scene at this time.
Yeah, I was part of the scene. Like it was
that was fucking one of the craziest chapters of surfing.
It's not like the thing for me is I surfed a lot around here. Like I surfed South Coast a lot before it blew up, which was like wild. And I'm not going to say tapped out of the scene, but like my priorities shifted. It's really weird because like my priorities shifted from bodyboarding to being in the band right around that time, and it was strange. Like I didn't have a big impact. I didn't do well enough on the tour to get like good sponsorship or anything like that. I had a couple of sponsors, but like my results on the tour weren't good enough. I just didn't have the drive to be a competitor in competitive bodyboarding. But I love free surfing, and I love just pushing myself in waves and just still being at that level. And I was just like, nah, screw it, whatever. I'm just going to surf good waves and just huck shit. And right when I did that, I get a couple of covers, which is just bizarre, and like get a bunch of exposure. And at the same time, right then, Parkway boosts off and we go on tour, and like I prioritize that basically. And I still like, there was like 10 years where every interview that we ever did or anything, people are like, surfing or band, you got a choice. And we like surfing, that's it. Like if you're gonna make a choice right now, what is it? I'm like, surfers first, band people second. Slowly that changed, but I never lost like the drive for it, and I'd still chase things when I got home. And I don't chase waves as much now in terms of like trips. I just chase stuff around here. That's the thing, and I'll still like, I just chase a wave of consequence in the area, like just anything of like a wait for the days when it's 6 foot or over, and you find somewhere where not many people are out, and just spend a lot of time in the ocean just trying to get something. Yeah, trying to find a ledge somewhere. So yeah, that's kind of it. But
mental.
I don't know. I still kept going. The weird thing was Hawaii kept drawing me back. Like I've kept, like my last trip there was 2 years ago, but every time I'm like, I don't know, but I keep going back.
Fuck, it's so good to watch bodyboarders take it on those unruly days. Like,
yeah, that's what it is. Like it's the amazing. Unruly days.
It's so mutant and ugly and doubled up, and like there's your Andre Bothas and like these kind of
still
horse veterans out there.
Craziest stuff. Mike's still destroying it. Like it's like it is still like, yeah, it's still absolutely incredible. Like
it's incredible.
It's my thing with it. It's cool to go back there now and still know all of those guys from when I originally started going over.
Yeah.
And there's way less people. Like it's kind of like all the lids in the lineup know the lids now, and that's kind of it. It's a lot more core in terms of like the population of it. And there's a whole bunch of like 12-year-old kids with gaths on, going anything they can on sticks, and it's just wild to go, I'm old now. But then you see Mike drop into a bomb and ride it perfectly, and you're like, oh, dude, I still got so many years left doing this. So it's sick.
Hey, I just won the fucking Shark Island Cup.
I know, man. It's so rad. Still like taking that drop at Chopes.
Oh my God.
Like literally sent him a message after that. Like, dude, are you okay? Like, what the fuck, man? It's nuts. So yeah, it's sick. Like I'm still sitting there checking every forecast every day. I still drive up and down the coast, and I still got my haunts that I go to that I get waves, and I still like have my finger completely on the pulse. It's just, I don't need that 2 foot slop anymore. Like I'm a lot more tempered with like, I'll go for a month of there being a bad forecast, and just, I don't have to drag myself out in the fully crap stuff just to go, oh, at least I went for a surf. I can save it up until the forecast hits and then go, sweet. And he gets like, you got to do a strike mission. You got to go somewhere.
Yeah, you got to keep surfing.
Yeah.
But I've surfed the slop around here too. Do you?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of
groveling.
getting more around groveling these
Yeah.
days. Yeah, like
I get it. Like
striking and scoring like hollow waves is mental, but it's also like pretty consequential. Like you're a good chance of getting hurt.
dude, I busted my head open last year in between tours as well, like just out at Sharps. It was weird. Like it was like right in the corner, like literally had a smoking day, like the day of the year there, the day before. And it was the first day back between festival shows. And we're like headlining these shows. So it's like super consequence. Like don't not turn up to the second leg of tour. And the first day was pumping and I rock up the second day and it's a touch smaller, but it's still sick. And I caught like 2 waves and then caught like a little 3-footer and it just pushed me down in the gutter. And then all of a sudden, like, this is just a beachy as well. And all of a sudden just like smashed my head on a rock.
No, there is random sus little rocks in there.
Random rock. And like got all dizzy and came
That's
up and I
heavy.
was like, oh,
God.
damn, that hurt. Maybe I should go back out and just catch some more waves or maybe it's bad. And it was just like blood. Yeah, it's a bit of blood. Yeah, heaps of blood. And I was like, sharks. And I was like, I don't think it's safe to go out. And I had to fully get it glued back and everything. And it's the consequence thing like comes into your mind a bit now. It's strange. Like it's hard to surf. Like I want to surf without the idea of consequence, but it starts playing with your mind a bit.
Mate, it's just part and parcel hollow waves, isn't it? Like they have that energy. That's what creates the fucking spinning wormhole. But,
It kind of is, isn't it? It's I kind of love that feeling of like, I don't know if everyone like, I'm not like a psycho charger or anything. I've got to imagine what it's like to like let go of the rope on like the right or something when you see that thing standing up in front of you and what that can do. And the like even the waves that I get occasionally when it's like it does have consequence of taking off and going, I got to play everything right here. I got to be good, otherwise I'm going to get hurt. And still doing it, and still pushing yourself over the ledge, or still putting you in the position where you like can't turn back now. And I love that feeling because like there's part of me that is very good at just doing it, of just going, you shouldn't be doing this, and I still do it anyway. Jumping off a high thing, skydiving, fucking whatever stunt. Being in the band, whatever they've pushed at me, at no point in time have I ever gone, that's safe, no worries. It's always like, nah, this is super sketch, but I do it anyway. And it kind of is that little rush kind of thing. But I can't imagine what it's like doing it on something of that kind of consequence in the ocean.
Mate, well, I got to acknowledge this too. Like, speaking to guys who do it in the fucking ultimate theatre of consequence, Solly Bailey, local guy, and you guys, like, in my mind, of all the greatest surf sections in history, the Pray, your song with the Solly Bailey Cloud Break section is like
Oh, you
up
used it on
there.
Cloud Break. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Oh, epic.
Oh, dude. It's
Yeah.
like I was listening to it this morning, just getting the full fucking chicken skin, like fully vibrating. And it's just like, it just ticks so many boxes. It's like Solly's like the most underground, underrated fucking surfer on earth, I reckon.
Yeah.
He's like, he's in the category of like kind of like John Florence. Like he's like kind of surfing waves
Pretty
of that
bad,
kind
eh?
of consequence.
Yeah.
But then he's like calves and his punts, like
He's
everything's
always getting the wave of the day too.
always
right?
in the wave of the day.
Yep.
And then on rail and in the air, like everything's so clean and clinical and big and perfect.
He's the guy you underestimate every move that he makes. If that makes, when I watch him, it's that thing of like he's so good that he's a constant surprise, but not in like a frenetic way. Just like it's so smooth and it's bigger than what it should be, and he's riding deeper than it should be, or it's the rail is like way cleaner than it should be, or the turn goes harder than it should. And every time I'm surprised by it because he makes it look so easy. And that's always the thing for me. Like, you know, the people that there's surfers that telegraph, you know exactly what they're going to do. He's the guy that you kind of don't know what he's going to do, but it's always going to impress you, which is sick.
Yeah, like the lines he draws and the pits he's packing.
Yeah.
Like I can't see surfing that's any better than that happening. So it's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And then you combine that with your song on the closer of that film Conehead, which, you know, famously clean sweeped the Golden Cone Piece Awards on our program. Like won women's divisions, won everything. Like the greatest surf film of last year, I think. Yeah. And that closer, man, it's just fucked up. Like, how did that come about? And obviously, like two classical underground Byron products like combining to create, like a seminal surf section. That's fucking insane, man.
Well, one thing we pride ourselves on, or I do anyway, is when like core lords hit us up for music, we give it to them.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you have to go through the label and the publishing and the agent and all this shit and pay a huge fee. We just, like Kirby Brown uses our songs, and
Jack,
if you're a good
Jack did, didn't he? Jack used Absolute Power, I think, at some point. Robbo.
Jack Robbo.
Yeah, he used to use one of them.
if people, like
New song on the New Tension.
yeah,
It's like we've always done it. It's just
and
been like
we like to make our music available because we're frothers, we're surf frothers. So why do we need to charge these cunts
It's an
thousands of
interesting
dollars
one.
to use our music?
because I think
That's
it links back to that same thing of like how it started for us. We're like,
Yeah.
now we're soundtracking it. Rad.
Yeah.
And like, mate, there's no.
So Solly just hit me up. He just messaged me and said, "Can I use Prey?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, send me the edit when you're done. That's it." And then I got to do a bit of shit on my end to make sure all the publishers are sweet
Pig
with it.
just tells
and
him not
that's
to
good.
come after him.
Yeah. I say we're giving this guy this for free, so leave him alone.
It's amazing. And that song is in the pantheon of the all-time greatest Australian rock metal tracks. Like, it's up there with fucking Hell's Bells and TNT and
got big
anything
calls,
Metallica
he's got big
did.
calls.
Mate, it's fucked
Yeah.
up. It's so good. Boys, been an absolute pleasure.
Fuck yeah, Jed.
Fucking love,
Yeah, lad.
love your work. Love what you're doing. And
Cheers.
thanks so much for your time.
Love it, mate. Up the
fabulous.
Swellians.
Up the Swellians.
Yeah.